Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To the Honorable World Zakat Forum Secretary General, to the Honorable Deputy Secretary Generals of the World Zakat Forum, to the Honorable Executive Secretary of the World Zakat Forum, and to the Honorable Members of Commissioner of the National Board of Zakat of the Republic of Indonesia, to all the Honorable Speakers in the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium, and to all the respected audience of the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium. Welcome back to the first annual World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium 2020. Greetings from Jakarta, Indonesia. I, Arafila, am back today to serve you as your master of ceremony. Alhamdulillah, all praises to Allah, for He has blessed us with the health during these troubled times and has granted us the opportunity to gather here today for this symposium. We hope that all of you who have joined us today are still eager to learn and share your thoughts and experiences with us during this symposium. Yesterday, we had a fruitful discussion regarding the topic of youth as a driver of the Global Zakat campaign, which was moderated by Brother Fahmi Ali Hudayfi from Indonesia, with guest speakers from Bangladesh, Indonesia, Uganda, and Switzerland. Our speakers shared with us their perspectives regarding the role of the youth in campaigning zakat and shared their experiences in handling the youth in their country to actively participate in paying, managing, and distributing zakat. Now, before we start the event, I would like to read the agenda for today. First, we will have the opening by the Master of Ceremony, which will then be followed by the main discussion for day 2, with the topic, Towards a Renowned Global Zakat Movement with World Zakat Forum Young Amil Professionals, which will be moderated by Sister Hafizah Elvira. Then, this will be followed by a commentary speech on World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium from the invited Deputy Secretary Generals and the Executive Secretary of the World Zakat Forum. This will then be followed by the resolution of the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium 2020. And finally, we will be having a closing ceremony by the Secretary General of the World Zakat Forum. So now, let's move on to the first agenda of today's symposium, which is a moderator session discussing the topic Towards a Renowned Global Zakat Movement with World Zakat Forum Young Amil Professionals. This session will be moderated by Sister Hafizah Elvira and discuss the dynamics of the Global Zakat Movement and how it has shifted throughout the years. Speakers from Malaysia, Canada, the United States of America, and from the United Kingdom will be sharing their perspectives and experiences with us regarding young Amil professionals during this session. Before moving on, I would like to kindly remind the participants of the symposium to mute their microphone during the discussion in order for the discussion to run smoothly. Any questions that you may have for the speakers can be typed into the chat box on the right side of your screen if you're using a laptop, and on the middle lower part of your screen if you're using your mobile phone. For the audience at home, viewing the symposium through the Basnas TV YouTube channel, you may enter any questions through the chat box on the right side of your screen if you are viewing through a laptop, or on the lower part of your screen if you are viewing through a mobile phone. Now, without further ado, I give my time to Sister Hafizah Elvira to begin the session. To Sister Hafizah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sister Arwa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Secretary General of World Zakat Forum, the Honorable Deputy Secretary General of World Zakat Forum, the Honorable Executive Secretary of World Zakat Forum, the Honorable Board of Commissioners of Basnas Republic of Indonesia, and also honorable guests, speakers, and also audiences on Basnas TV YouTube channel. I'm Hafizah Elvira Nofitariani from Badan Amil Zakat Nasional or Basnas in Indonesia. I will be your moderator of today's discussion, and the theme of today's discussion is Towards a Renowned Global Zakat Movement with World Zakat Forum Young Amil Professionals. Here with us, we have 4 speakers on the sessions. I will introduce one by one. The first speaker is Dr. Hafizah binti Zainal, Manager of Kedah Zakat International Research Center, Lembaga Zakat Negeri Kedah. Second speaker is Zubair Qasim as the Executive Director, National Zakat Foundation Canada. The third speaker, Imam Shamsi Ali, PhD, Imam and the Director of Jamaica Muslim Center, New York, also the founder and president of Nusantara Foundation, USA. And the last speaker is Mr. Azim Kidwai as the Director of National Zakat Foundation Worldwide. Every speaker will be given 10 minutes speaking, and after they finish, we will start a Q&A session with delegates in this forum, also with audiences on Basnas TV YouTube channel. Delegates here may put questions on the chat box on this Google Meet, and audiences on the Basnas TV YouTube channel, you may put the questions on the YouTube chat box. And the first speaker here, Dr. Hafizah. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Hafizah. Hello, Dr. Hafizah. You may unmute your microphone.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Sister Hafiza.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you?
I'm fine, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, Dr. Hafizah will be the first speaker. How do you feeling being involved in this online symposium?
Okay, I feel a bit nervous because I'm only one woman in the representative of this symposium as a speaker. So it is a bit a challenge for me, but I can try the best, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. Thank you very much. So you have the slides to be presented?
Yes.
Okay, please, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Moderator Sister Hafiza. You can hear me?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. But I can open my slide because I'm using the tablet.
Oh, okay. I will help you
Can
to
you
share
open
the
my
screen.
Can you open my slide?
Sure. I will open it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
You can see my face?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You will end the screen, and then I will continue to present the screen.
Sorry.
Okay.
But
Okay. You can stop the screen first. All right. I will present it to you.
I cannot see. Why?
Yes. Hold a minute.
Sorry, I take the time.
Okay. Can everyone see the screen? Dr. Hafizah, you can see the screen?
I can't see my face. Okay. Okay, clear. Okay, thank you, Hafiza. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Can I begin my presentation today?
Yes, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
May I begin?
Yes,
Present?
please. Yeah. Okay, you have viewed your screen now, your presentation. Hello, Dr. Hafiza. Okay. All right. I think we have technical issues here. So I think we can move it first to our second speaker. I think we will continue to the second speaker first, then we will go back to Dr. Hafizah's after that. All right. That's okay. We have here Mr. Zubair Qasim. Hello, Mr. Zubair Qasim. Are you there?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All right. How are you, sir?
Alhamdulillah, I'm well. Jazakallah khair. Hope everybody's well on the call as well.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. All right. So I know it's Fajr time there in Canada. You are in Toronto or in other city?
Yes, we're in Toronto. Yes.
You're in Toronto. Okay. All right. This must be the earliest symposium event that you've ever had. Am I right?
Yes, it definitely is. Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm glad to be part of this initiative for sure.
Thank you very much for joining. Mr. Zubair, you must have your own perspective on the importance of young generation for development agenda, most importantly in the context of Zakat campaign worldwide. So what do you think then? Please, the time is yours.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. First of all, before I start, I just wanted to thank Basnas Indonesia, the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium. I want to thank the leadership and all the organizers that are working behind the scenes. I know in the past week or so, there's been a lot of people working on the ground that have been communicating with me. So I just want to thank the effort that everybody's put into it to work for this third pillar of Islam, which is very, very important. In regards to the question that you asked, I wanted to go back to the core elements of what young people connect with, and what is the trends that I see currently amongst the young generation. So generally speaking, across the board, we see a rise in activism amongst the youth on one side, and on the other side, we also see in a certain level, there's a decline in faith in some aspects. And what's interesting about Zakat is it connects activism and faith together as one body. And out of all the pillars that we may have within our deen, Zakat is one of those pillars that puts faith into action. And it connects with the core human element and values of, helping another person. And I wanted to give a perspective, not just from Islamic lens to make that point, but also from a non-Islamic lens. There's been many books written, and one of the famous ones that I wanted to quote here was from Marcus Aurelius, who was a great emperor, and he has a book called The Emperor's Handbook, which has been translated. So in it, he gave an example, is a dog hunts, a bee makes honey, and one man helps another. So the way I see Zakat, and especially the young generation, in terms of the development agenda, I see that Zakat is something that connects within our faith, the human alleviation and suffering for people, and it helps try to alleviate that, and on many different levels, financial, social, and faith as well. So the way I see the youth engaging with it is that we have to make it relevant, and the youth can become the driving force for Zakat if it can be positioned properly to them. And it's good to see that you guys have put this together so the youth can get involved. And what I see is that this can create exponential change possibly within the world when it comes to Zakat being activated. I feel like Zakat is kind of dormant in the sense that, there's on some levels within certain regions, there might be some good activation going on, but there's not like a collaborative effort that may be happening. And I feel like when youth are involved, many new ideas are going to flow. They're up to speed with the newest tools that may be available to them. So the efficiency of how Zakat will be activated will be much better. And the speed and mobilization at which youth can move is very, very impressive in many cases. So I feel like they can really drive the development of not just a very effective zakat institution, but also a very effective model in creating an execution model of how zakat can be implemented on the ground. I think the areas where they may need assistance, if anything, is to, number one, guide them and mentor them from the people that are already experienced, and number two, to create some sort of a vision for them and connect that faith and their feelings together as one, so they can be motivated, and also to get them to collaborate with one another, because young people, when they collaborate and work with one another, they feed off of each other's energy. So I feel like that is an important element that needs to be looked at on how young people can be connected in a much more efficient way worldwide in different aspects of wherever, in whichever way they may be working with zakat, and motivate them to share ideas with one another and actually motivate one another and inspire one another. So the way I see it is youth are very, very important. The young generation is very important. And I think the more the young people get involved with zakat in a worldwide setting, the more we can, inshallah, push the agenda of zakat forward as a third pillar of Islam. So that would be my perspective on that first question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Zubair. May I know about the millennials? We say young Amil professionals as millennials, and we know that millennials is a term for those who are like 23 until 39 years old. So what do you think that young professionals or young Amil contribution there in Canada? Can you tell us a little bit?
In regards to the interaction that we have in terms of our own staff and the people that we interact with, and also our volunteer base for the people that are working within the zakat area, not just within our own organization, but I'm also talking about many of the other organizations, the leading organizations within Canada that are charitable, and they have collection and distribution of zakat that may be taking place either locally or international. The majority of them, I would say 80% of their staff and volunteers are, I would consider, as millennials. And they are heavily inclined towards doing this type of charitable work. The only thing I guess that's missing when it comes to zakat is zakat. They just, I think this is pretty much across the board, I would say probably for the ummah, is that people know very little about zakat and the impact that it can make and the historical evidences that we have in terms of the great things zakat has been able to achieve. So they need a bit of inspiration, but the passion is there amongst those millennials. They, like I said, it goes back to them wanting to do something good. I feel like a lot of millennials, they have a missing gap. Like they are connected to technology. They're 24/7 on Facebook and other tools, Instagram and whatever else they might be using, TikTok. But at the end of the day, they feel a gap within their hearts that they are missing something. And with charitable causes, they feel that connection. They may not go to the masajid all the time and listen to lectures, but they're willing to get on the ground and help other people. And that's something that inspires them. So I feel like zakat can definitely, it connects to them. They understand it in that sense. And then it's our job to inspire them further. And a lot of them make the transition and end up working in this field. I myself, at this point in time, I'm still under that millennial umbrella. I'm just a couple of years away, but at this point in time, I'm still there.
Yeah, I see that's interesting to hear more about the stories of young millennials in Canada. And do you have any platform for young millennials there to at least they can learn about zakat, or they can also they are offered to work on zakat in zakat institutions?
Yeah, so on our specific level, I mean, we've been around since 2015 within Canada, and we've grown tremendously from that point in time to now. One of the core elements of our institution is that we really want to focus on like education and calculation services of zakat as well. Sorry, I think I can hear myself or somebody else. Okay. So what I wanted to say was we have been offering different services like seminars and putting together materials that we distribute for free, calculation services, etc. So we find that we engage with a lot of volunteers. They're willing to learn. They're willing to get on the ground in terms of if there's any volunteer work that needs to be done. So majority of the people that come forward, they are volunteers. And then what ends up happening is we grew. We needed to hire staff. So at this point in time, alhamdulillah, we have about 35 staff across 8 different cities within Canada, and I would say over 100 volunteers. And predominantly, I would say 90% of them, between our staff and volunteers, are below the age of 35, I would say. I'm one of the older people within the team, but that's what we've noticed. There's definitely a passion for it, and the more they learn, the more passionate they get. So, and even amongst the audiences that we serve and we interact with, whenever we hold zakat seminars, or if we provide calculation services or zakat calculation clinics, we see a lot of younger people show up to those events, and they're interested. They want to know. So that's been our experience within Canada.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Zubair, for sharing us the information about a youth or millennials contribution. Maybe their interest to also learn more about zakat, and maybe we also have to motivate them to join this campaign and also to join this movement. Now I would like to move to our third speaker. Sorry, now to be the second speaker, Imam Shamsi Ali. Assalamualaikum, Imam Shamsi Ali. Yes, Imam Shamsi Ali, you can turn on the microphone.
Yes, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Imam Shamsi Ali, I'm so interested to know more about Zakat movement there in USA. I know that you stay in New York City, so there must be a lot of a very dynamic information, and also maybe youth movement there in USA. And do youth participate in zakat activities there? Please, the time is yours.
Thank you, Hafiza. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. I'd like first to thank the business and the World Zakat Forum for this opportunity. It's such an honor for me to be taking part. For those of you who do not know, that my foundation in 2015 hosted the second World Zakat Forum in New York City. And through this means, I would like to offer once again to come back to New York City, possibly at our pesantren. I'm now here at the pesantren of the first pesantren in the United States, and hopefully we can organize our next World Zakat Forum here in our pesantren, inshallah.
Amin, inshallah.
I just wanted to before coming to the questions, I just wanted to once again to congratulate all of you on this wonderful Ramadan, very unique one, very different, very distinctive. And hopefully Ramadan is not only the month of ibadah, maghfirah, rahmah, and inshallah Jannah, of course, but also could be the month of transformation. And in relevance to the issue of zakat, I would like to say this, that I think we need to transform our understanding of zakat itself from being just giving to the level of that before giving, we must understand how the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ understood zakat. And I call this from being passive understanding to the proactive understanding of the zakat itself. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Rasulullah ﷺ and the Muslims to give zakat, the Prophet and the Muslims at that time understood that it means that we have to empower our ummah economically. And that's why they bought the market in Medina from the Jewish community. And this is one of what I like to call transformations of the understanding of an old and conventional understanding of zakat to the new understanding of zakat. And I think our millennials, and it is just a matter of age, and I'm still a millennial as well, must understand zakat from this perspective. It's not only giving 2.5% of your wealth, but more importantly, that zakat must be the means for us to empower our ummah economically. It is very important. Secondly, that the Holy Quran particularly commanded the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to enforce the obligation of zakat. And the Holy Quran said that in Amr, fi'l al-Amr, is a commandment. When it says, خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ, it's a commandment to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to take from their wealth. It means that the committee, Zakat committee, must have a teeth to enforce the Zakat on the people. And that's why Abu Bakr basically fought those people who rejected to give Zakat. You know, أَتُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ الصَّلَاةِ وَالزَّكَاةِ, are you separating between Salat and Zakat? My point here that I think our Zakat committee must have more authority to enforce on those who are able to give Zakat. Otherwise, you know, voluntarily in nature, it will continue such that we have this. I don't know in Indonesia how many percentage of the people are giving Zakat basically, but it's very low compared to Malaysia. I think Indonesia is still very low. And one of the reasons is because there's not such a strong authority to enforce on those who can and able to give Zakat to give their Zakat. So this is number two. Now, coming to the millennials, and because we are talking about millennials, and I just wanted to say one, that we are living in a very different world today. This is known as a globalized world, and at least there are three main characteristics. Number one, our time is very much speedy. Everything is about speed. And I think our millennials must understand that if we are not in having that a nature of being hurried, as the Quran says, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ, and be quick into the forgiveness of your Lord. And of course, before the Jannah and the hereafter, we have to be quick here to grasp every opportunity. And my point is our millennials must be having these notions and mindset that we must be quick. We cannot be lazy anymore. And we have to be in the front line to do every possible way so that we can win the competition. Because the second characteristic of the globalized world is about competition. You know, everything is about competition in every aspect of human's life, even in da'wah field. You know, well, I cannot say to some Christian friends who want to go to Indonesia, say, you know, it's about competition. You know, some American people came to me saying, I wanted to go to Indonesia. I wanted to learn Indonesian culture. So I asked him, what's the reason? He said, because I wanted to go there for like 3 months. 3 months? He said, yes. I know that he's a missionary. So I say, if you are a missionary, of course you have the right to go to spread and to preach your religion anywhere. But I have to let you know that I am also a missionary. You say, I have a mission here, a mission of da'wah to spread Islam in America. But let me just tell you that those who became Muslims, alhamdulillah, in America, young people, professional, educated, alhamdulillah, and they have middle income up. So this is a competition. And I think our millennials must be ready to compete. Finally, that we are also living in a globalized world which is deeply interconnected. I think our brother from Canada mentioned that we need to build this a global partnership. And so I challenge basically our millennials to be able to build a strong networking in terms of managing our zakat worldwide. And from there, they have to build a mindset that zakat, once again, is not only collection, is not only distribution, but broaden their mindset, saying that zakat must be an alternative to the failure of capitalism at the moment. This is a big word here, that we must present zakat as an alternative to the failure of capitalism, because capitalism has failed humanity in terms of providing happiness and peace. Once again, coming back to the questions, Hafiza, I think, you know, in America, as you know, that we have a very diverse community. We have a lot of different backgrounds. We have a lot of national organizations, similarly in Canada, of course. But New York City itself is, as we know, it's capital of the world. So you can find every single human being here in the city. And we have national organizations such as ICNA, Islamic Circle of America, ISNA, Islamic Society of North America. We have different other organizations. And each of these organizations have their own charity organization, or it's a part of that organization. So these are organizations who are basically managing the zakat here in the United States of America. In addition, of course, every single community has their own charity, activities. For example, in my own community, Jamaica Muslim Center in Queens, alhamdulillah, during this pandemic COVID-19, we're able to distribute food to the people, not only to the Muslims, even to non-Muslims. We create a public kitchen to provide food to our doctors in the hospitals, and also bring food to their elderly homes. So we are very much involved, and most of the brothers who are involved in these activities are millennials, not only in terms of they are less than 39 years, but also in their mentality and mindset, because I'm sure that being youth is not only the number of the age, but it is about mentality and mindset. And so we are very much involved in engaging our community so that they can be responsible enough to ease the burdens of our brothers and sisters who are suffering, particularly these days during the pandemic COVID-19.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Imam Shamsi Ali, for explaining about the condition there in America. And I think that really gives an explanation that we can also learn about youth in America, how they learn about Islam, how they maybe later they convert and they learn more about practicing Islamic teaching. And I'm sure that volunteering activities there are very famous. I mean that every young generation must have a volunteer activities there. So I'm sure that there are a lot of activities that we can do as a young Amil, maybe a young millennials in USA. And I think we can, thank you very much, Imam Shamsi Ali. Now we can move to the third speaker. We have Dr. Hafizah Zainal. Okay. Hello, Dr. Hafizah. Okay, you can unmute the microphone. Hello? Hello, Dr. Hafizah.
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Yes, Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for problem happened for this.
That's
about
okay.
my using the laptop.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yes. I will present the slide. You have the slide, right?
Okay.
You wanna share the screen?
Yes. Okay.
And also for audiences on Basnas TV YouTube channel, you can also follow the Instagram of World Zakat Forum. We have at World Zakat Forum 2020. Also for delegates here, I'm sure that you haven't followed maybe, or you have followed the Instagram. Please do follow. And also we have the LinkedIn profile, also the Twitter at World Zakat Forum. Please do follow to get the updates, information, and events there. Okay.
Okay. My screen.
Yes, you can play the slide.
I tried please, but cannot. It's okay. You can display for me.
Yeah, you can click the slideshow button at the right bottom.
Yes, I already clicked the button.
Okay, maybe you can maximize the tab.
Yeah, that's right.
This is very unique because we have the online symposium.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cannot. Okay.
Right. Great. Yes, we can see the screen now.
Okay. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear Moderator Sister Hafiza, to the Honorable World Zakat Forum Secretary General, Prof. Dr. Bambang Sudibiu, the Honorable World Zakat Forum Executive Secretary Dr. Irfan Syauqi, all the speakers and all delegates from across the globe. It's always my pleasure on behalf of Zakat Nation in Malaysia and Lembaga Zakat Negeri Kedah to be invited on this platform to share to all of you about our topic today, which is towards a renowned global zakat movement with World Zakat Forum Young Army Professional. As we know, as Amil representative, we all know that the routine has been a bit tight, especially due to the pandemic COVID-19 issue globally. However, I want to say congratulations to Basna, who still managed to organize a great event which involves 33 countries in the symposium. The collaboration among the participants together is the key to success. The symposium agenda. It is such an honor for me to do live here as one of the speakers, as representative of nation, Zakat institutions to share knowledge and our experience from Global Zakat Movement with World Zakat Forum yang Amil professionals. Okay. As we can see, I want to introduce a little bit about our Zakat institution in Malaysia. We have 14 Zakat institution in Malaysia, and Lembaga Zakat Negara Kedah is one of them. And before I go through the details about the program that we have in Lembaga Zakat Negara Kedah, I will explain a little bit about Zakat institution in Malaysia and LZNK. For LZNK, we are unique since we are directly monitored by our sultan and not through Islamic State Religious Council like other. And for your information, our staff in LZNK consists 75% of young workers who are aged below 14 years. And our main operation is collecting and distributing the zakat fund. Okay, this is total zakat distribution in Malaysia that contribute to ASNAF during COVID-19. Okay, first I will explain about what we do to promote the World Zakat Forum youth. Okay, for SNK, we have 3 programs to promote campaign zakat. First, we do Kedah International Zakat Forum, which is this program focus more on research. We held this conference last year, and about 300 participants among more than 10 countries attend the conference. This is our vision to be as a zakat campaign worldwide like Basnas. We have other zakat institutions. As the result, KZ successful increasing the campaign for zakat institution development and as well as pro-zakat agenda across the world. We also a medium to engage several of universities in Kedah such as
Hello. Hello, Dr. Hafiza. Can you hear me? Hello. Okay. I think there is a technical issues happen here. Hello, Dr. Hafiza. Are you still with us? Okay, maybe the trouble on the internet connection. So, well, I think we can continue to, well, right, I want to try again. Hello, Dr. Hafiza, can you hear me? Okay, all right, I think we need to reconnect. So I'll go to the 4th speaker first. The last speaker is Mr. Azim Kidwai. Hello, Mr. Azim.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you there?
Alhamdulillah, very well. How are you guys?
Alhamdulillah. So this is actually your second time, right? Joining the World Zakat Forum online event. Am I right?
It is, yeah.
Yes. Now with a different atmosphere where there are delegates here on the forum and audiences. What do you think about this youth forum?
No, alhamdulillah, I think it's a great initiative and it's in line with the wonderful leadership that we have seen from Basnas and the World Zakat Forum always progressing the agenda. So it's a great thing, and it's alhamdulillah what we've come to expect from the great leadership that we're seeing from the organization, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So you have slides to be presented?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to present the slides here?
Yeah, I can do that. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Yeah, I guess following on from your previous comment, that this is, alhamdulillah, it's a good opportunity, and I'd like to thank the organizers as usual for looking progressively of the key issues facing zakat authorities globally and pulling us together always, mashallah, in a positive way. And we hope that the barakah of Ramadan continues for all of us, and we have a successful end to this blessed month, with more and more people paying their zakat and more people benefiting from that. So I would like to look at the issue from 3 different paradigms, and inshallah I'll just spend a few minutes on each. The idea is, one is to look at the kind of, I guess what's been mentioned, the millennials perspective on this, and then just give you some reflections on our recent experiences and how we need to evolve. So I guess the first thing is, when you're looking at millennials, we identified that there's kind of 4 key areas that not only do millennials have a role, but have an exponential value, which for us as zakat agencies, we need to better understand, but also look at how we can benefit our stakeholders with. So, from our perspective, we looked at 4 kind of key areas. One is education, one is calculation, one is collection, and one is distribution. All of them having distinct nuances around where millennials can add exponential benefit, but also where they have needs and expertise that need to be considered. So from an education perspective, there's a whole new world of engagement opportunities. So let's say even 10 or 15 years ago, when it came to education about zakat, it would mean that you would need to go to your masjid, or maybe you would need to study with a scholar, maybe you would need to buy some books, etc. Now things have changed dramatically. The way millennials access education, this can be done through, Facebook, can be done through TikTok, even can be done even through so many of the different social media platforms, whereby it's not about necessarily going through a whole book and going through intricacies of zakat in one go, but it might be about drip feeding community information, knowing that that younger audience will be one that is able to absorb that information in a quick way, but also share that. Secondly, from an education perspective, there is a desire to see a role for artificial intelligence to play a role here, and by that I mean, some way of looking at what my education needs are, and the zakat agencies being able to deploy AI in a way that it recognizes that who it's speaking to, and can actually drip feed them more and more information in a way that allows that person to be more and more informed, more and more educated. Like the Imam said earlier on, really taking on some of the cruxes from the Quran and the Sunnah, but not necessarily in one go. And AI would allow you to see what is the learning level of the person that you're speaking to, and allow them to be drip fed more and more information. Second thing, in terms of calculation, is that the millennials are pretty much living online. I remember I had a conversation with someone, funnily enough, in Canada a couple of years ago, and when I asked them, where do you live, they said online, and that was the first time I'd ever heard that. So you see, there's an increasing amount of young people that are predominantly online, and then that's a global thing. It's not a Western thing or an Eastern thing. You'll find people are just as likely to be online as you might expect in London or in Lombok. So you'll find that this is a global phenomenon, and millennials are online, they're on mobile, and they are expecting a different level of support in being able to make their calculations. So let's say before they would sit down with a pen and a paper, they might sit down with their family, they might visit the sheikh. Now they don't want to do that. Now they want to be able to be sat on their phone and just be able to put their numbers in, and automatically some numbers to come out. And furthermore, and I think which is quite interesting from an AI perspective, is they would probably even expect a reminder to come through. So maybe I calculated my zakat in 2019 and I forgot all about it in 2020. There is an ability and an expectancy for agencies like ourselves to be able to engage them in a way to remind them, to be able to work with them, to make them think of things they haven't necessarily considered. Thirdly, from a collection perspective, we find that asset bases have changed so much. So let's say when my father was back in India, where he originates from, he might have had a reflection, or they may as a family have looked at zakat from not only cash that they had and gold, but maybe on livestock, on properties that they rented out to people that were working on their lands, etc. Now it's very different. People look at what cash they have in the bank, what digital currencies they have, and which makes it a lot easier for a collection engagement, because you're not having to have lots of complex discussions on different types of zakat rates. You're looking at how people can be connected, and all their different wealth classes can be better understood. And finally, from a distribution perspective, I guess this picks up on something that Zubair mentioned at the very beginning, that we live in a time where young people are increasingly motivated to be involved with helping one another. There are countless reports about millennials that they are less motivated by money and more motivated by emotion. And that's something for us to really embrace, to say, well, how do we create, and how do we raise, and how do we engage young people to be involved actively in distribution, looking at localized engagement, looking at how they can share information to improve distribution. So for example, if I'm a 25-year-old in Jogja, and I'm walking down the street and I see someone in financial distress, I have a role, I have the potential to be able to flag that person's details into a system, and that kind of connects into a distribution system that someone like Baznas might be involved with. So there's so many more opportunities from a distribution level. So millennials, it's not just about keeping a terminology and saying, we need to engage, or we should engage youth. The reality is we need to engage young people to be able to evolve zakat and its ability to really make a difference in people's lives. My own experience in NZF worldwide, and that's from a perspective of being at a level where we're engaging other foundations more than actually working within a foundation. Kind of three key areas that we identify with is that millennials, first thing is that they challenge, and this is very important. I think it's a good thing, especially for countries where zakat is collected at a sovereign level and distributed at a sovereign level, because young people will challenge poor experience. Young people will challenge poor distribution. Young people challenge things being done without dignity, and they want an opportunity to be able to give their feedback. So this is something we really need to consider in a much better way, that you can't just assume that they'll think, these are good people, we should respect them. They'll think, no, this is money they're handling, they're accountable. The second thing is clarity. They want a lot more transparency. They want clarity on how zakat is used and the impact it's having. And then the final thing is that they want convenience. So they want us to be able to deal with their zakat in a way that suits them. So things like being able to budget, like being able to pay a zakat monthly, daily even, things like actually seeing how systems can be developed where automatically zakat can be taken from their wage even, maybe. So here we have a rise of digital banking and lots of challenger banks, and one thing we're seeing is that as part of your banking application, there's the ability to create budgets, and that you might have a budget for zakat, you might have a budget for going on holiday, you might have a budget for saving up, whatever. So these are things that they increasingly are looking at. And I guess for us, and this is where it may be a good point of reflection, that I think current youth participation has made a lot of change for zakat agencies, and the three kind of key areas that we're seeing where change is emerging already. So my previous slide is about where we need to be going, but these are things that are already visible. Number one is crowdfunding. So we globally see crowdfunding is reaching new heights every single day, more and more millions of dollars being collected. And that's very important, because what it says is that if zakat agencies don't pick up the pace, then individuals may just essentially create their own pseudo agencies. Because now, for example, so I live in the UK, if I'm not satisfied with my zakat collecting agency, then there's nothing stopping me going on to GoFundMe and starting a campaign to collect zakat. Nothing stopping me do that. It's perfectly legal and perfectly able to do that. So this is a real force that needs to be considered, and recognize that it's improving funding participation, but it can be used as a way to bypass the agencies. So right now, if we're smart, we can engage crowdfunders to come and crowdfund for us and with us. But if we're not careful and we don't improve performance, they could just go do that themselves. Second thing is around promotion. There's a great advancement in being able to promote yourself, promote your activity. And mashallah, like you mentioned just before, when it comes to Baznaz, we see Instagram, we see Facebook, mashallah, we see YouTube Live, we see so many things. This is a good thing, and young people can be heavily engaged in that and can help promote our activity. So mashallah, I'm sure that the people that have dialed in, if they hear something they like, then they can share that. Like when the Imam spoke earlier, what I loved in what he said as a great reminder, the khuzmin amwalikum, like that the starting position is take. It's not ask, it's take. And that's a very important thing, because people need to be more comfortable recognizing that zakat is not charity, it's not a voluntary action, it's a mandatory action. And to the point that where people sought to make it voluntary, the Khalifa at the time, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, was willing to fight them for that. And then the final thing is challenge. We now see the reality of social media being such that even if you're in a country where you have a regulator of zakat funds which is not particularly powerful or not particularly active, or you don't have one at all, the new regulator is the masses, the new regulator is the people. So if you're administering zakat in a way and it's not very clever, it's not very ambitious, as was said by the Imam earlier, it's not very empowering, then you'll find that people can challenge that and they can hold you to account. Not being anyone, they don't need to be a minister, they don't need to be a government official, they can just be sat at home and say this is wrong, and they can get 1 million people to agree with them. So these are some of the key areas of youth participation which have already started but have massive implications for us as agencies, and I think it would warrant maybe some work collaborative, like Zubair mentioned earlier, for us to look at these things together. That how do we embrace crowdfunding, how do we better use promotion activities to show globally the impact of zakat, and finally, how do we better understand this issue of the social media voice and the informal regulator, shall we say, that has the ability for people to say, I'm not giving any more to X agency, I'm just going to do it myself. So these were just some thoughts I'd had from a view of how millennials are engaging, but also how they should be engaged.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Azim Kidwai, for the presentation. I think we have a very fruitful information about zakat and millennials contribution there in United Kingdom. Now, unfortunately, Dr. Hafiza cannot join us because of the internet connection trouble. Now I can move to the Q&A section. I think I have a lot of questions here on the YouTube chat box and also on the platform. Now I want to start the first question to Imam Shamsi Ali. Okay. Imam Shamsi, there are actually 2 questions here from our brother Abdul Aziz and Fahmi Ali. The first question is, due to the pandemic or the economic halt in USA right now, how does it impact the zakat collection or maybe the zakat situation there in New York? And the second question, what are the challenges that you face to optimize the potential of zakat from millennial? Please, Imam Shamsi Ali. Sorry, Imam, you can unmute first.
Yes, thank you for the questions. And you have to understand first that as Muslims living in the midst of non-Muslim majority society, the first and the most important in our mind is about how to convey our Islam. And so during this pandemic, the COVID-19, our millennials, mashallah, they are highly motivated, very much courage to move on and do every possible way to collect donation from the people, from the Muslim brothers and sisters, and they use this money to buy foods, stuff. And not only that, they announce to the people massively that those who are in need, we can bring them to their doors, and that's what we're doing here in New York City. Islamic Circle and Helping Hand and others, and there are many charity organizations that are doing the same thing. And so we use these challenging moment as opportunities. And I say this many times, that every time that we are facing challenge, Allah opened for us opportunities. And in fact, we have that experience since 9/11. And so pandemic COVID-19 has been a wide opportunity for the Muslim to do, to prove to the American society that we are here not as a threat, we are here as a contributor. We are here to partner with our colleagues and friends, to build a better society, to live, to create a better place for everybody to live. And that's what we are doing here. And we are very much encouraging our millennials or youngs to take part in that. In fact, as our Canadian brother mentioned earlier, that the majority of those who are involved in these works are young people. We have a very strong youth organization in our community, for example, and they are in the front line to do that, distributing food. And just yesterday, for example, we are morning now here in New York City. Yesterday, we have a food truck going around, distributing food to not only Muslims. This halal food basically was intended for those who are fasting people, but also for non-Muslims as well. Because in the back of our heads is about how to show and to prove that Islam is truly rahmatan lil alameen. The challenge, I think, is about how to convince ourselves and our youngsters particularly that zakat is truly a solution. It is not just a voluntary thing to do from time to time, but we must place this zakat as a solution for the many problems we are facing, including poverty problems. And I think the Muslim world is in deeply, a challenge in terms of poverty. And we must convince ourselves as an ummah that zakat truly is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a solution for that problem. But we take this half-heartedly. And that's what the problem is. So the challenge is how to convince. Inshallah, alhamdulillah, the majority of our youngs are taking it very seriously. There are some I don't care, but the majority are taking it very seriously, inshallah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Imam Shamsi. I think you've covered 2 questions.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And then I move to the 3rd question from our brother here, Hassan Kombo from Zanzibar. Hello. The question is, I think maybe for all speakers, is there any barrier to access zakat if there are differences on ideological or political perspective? This is very interesting. Maybe we can start from Mr. Zubair.
I think you gave me a very tough question. Yes, there's differences, but I think there's a lot more similarities. So that's going to be the first thing I would mention. I think in the Canadian context, I can speak from the Canadian context, and we have it's a very mixed society in terms of lots of different cultures, and locally a lot of generational kind of Muslims as well, and ideological differences as well, different backgrounds. So we have a very mixed Muslim community. That's the way I would put it. And I think on the general high level, there is a level of cooperation amongst most of them. And so overall, I mean, for us on this level, we see that people are willing to connect and work with one another as long as they don't see any alternative agenda or if they don't feel threatened in any way. So in regards to zakat specifically, I find that there's a lot more common ground and willing to cooperate with one another. In our own experience here, we've been very, very successful in that. We've had good relationships with all kinds of community members within the Muslim community, regardless of their ideological differences with one another, and they're willing to work together. So we haven't had major challenges, but I can understand on the international level and region to region, the scenario may be completely different, but alhamdulillah, we've been fortunate on that front. So maybe a couple of the other panelists can maybe give a better perspective if they've had any challenging situations.
Yeah, it's quite hard, I think, to answer this question. Right, maybe we can have the perspective from Mr. Azim.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think just following on from what Zubair said, I think that's we've had a very similar experience in the Western context. So, we operate in 5 countries, and generally we found that when Muslims are a minority, I think it's a bit easier to navigate some of these issues. It's obviously very different in a context, say Malaysia or Indonesia, where that you have a vast Muslim majority, where you'll find that maybe other minorities feel that there's a special privilege because of zakat or not. But even that, I guess, to be honest, it's still a positive force, because I think, as Imam Shamsi mentioned earlier, that there's a divine purpose to zakat, and ultimately for some people, let's say if you're a minority and you're not currently accessing zakat, this might be an incentive, this might be something that's attractive. And we know from the Sunnah Muhammad ﷺ that many a people, they accepted Islam on his hands because of his generosity and how, basically how he endowed them with wealth. So I think from, in my experience and in our context at NZF Worldwide, working mainly in, like I said, in non-Muslim countries, we've not really experienced major challenges here, because we're small in number, and we've more often than not tried to find a way to cooperate with everyone, Muslims and non-Muslims. And by policy of the organization, we have a policy to not turn anyone away. So even if somebody is not eligible for zakat, we will find them some support, some assistance through a partner or through a third party, but we will never say to someone that we can't help you, go away.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. I think I can go to Dr. Hafizah Zainal again. Hello, Dr. Hafiza. I think finally you can come back to the forum. Hello? Hello, Dr. Hafiza. Okay. Hello? Okay, unfortunately. Maybe for the last question I have here, I think I have some questions more on YouTube, but unfortunately that was for Dr. Hafiza, so I will move to Imam Shamsi again for the question. This is for Imam Shamsi and for Mr. Zubair. How about the young Amil plays a role in doing the zakat campaign? Do you have any perspective or information about the activities that youth do the campaign to inform zakat to people, or maybe to the Muzaki in the USA and in Canada? We can start from Imam Shamsi. Imam. Yes.
Yeah, I have been muted by someone. I think when we come to the millennials issue, one of the most important characteristics of them, or ours, and I consider myself millennial too, that we are mastering the opportunities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us this time in terms of the advancement of science and technology, and particularly with the booming of social media. And we are all involved in social media. You have your Facebook, you have your Twitter, Instagram. I think all this can be means for us to educate ourselves and others about the importance and the obligation of zakat. And so I think we have more rooms and opportunity to do that compared to those who were before us. And I think it is also at the same time we have to remind ourselves that we have to master it. We cannot. It's not a time to say now that the Facebook is made by a Jewish person, or Twitter is made by someone else, Instagram is made by someone else. The challenge is, can we utilize that, maximize for our own benefits? And I think we can do that. So do not be victimized by the changes. Do not be victimized by the movements of this universe, including the movement of our circumstances of life. So I think we have to master science and technology, and this is the best way to educate our people. Allah.
Thank you, Imam. And how about there in Canada, Mr. Zubair?
Well, I think for engaging the youth and the younger audience in connecting to zakat, luckily with having a young team, you get to understand the psyche and how they want to operate. So yes, they have an online life, but their online life is triggered from their offline activities. So they go to a restaurant, they take a picture, etc., etc. So what we have realized is doing events or doing initiatives on the ground that can then activate their online presence as well. So then they will actually engage online, coming from a different perspective, like coming from a perspective of an attendee. So, for example, one of the unique initiatives that we do, even though it's not directly connected to Zakat, we then connect them to Zakat through that initiative. For example, we do a toy drive every Ramadan around the country, and people get really involved in it. The youth get involved in it, and then they get involved in delivering those toys to kids that maybe, you know, with families that are not doing so well. And they get to see firsthand that, you know, poverty exists here, which is hidden. And back to school drives, food drives like the Imam mentioned as well, Imam Shamsi from New York. These types of activities really get them engaged. And then when those youth and those millennials, they are the ones themselves engaging with social media and talking about Zakat, then it makes the cycle just exponentially grow faster. And that's one of the tricks and the techniques that we use here to try to do very interesting offline activities that will actually garner attention online. And we've seen success in doing that.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Zubair. I think we still have one more question for Mr. Azim. That was your presentation was actually make a big question about the crowdfunding itself, because here in Indonesia we have a crowdfunding platform. We have a lot of platforms here for people to crowdfunding. And how about in UK? Whether the issues, or is there any? Do you have comparison between the crowdfunding for Zakat or for Sadaqah that actually raised by the youth or millennials in UK?
Yeah, we have probably far too many. That's the problem. So we have lots and lots of crowdfunding platforms, and it's just become a financial service where you have lots of different platforms trying to secure those funds. But my point on this is that I think the reason why Zakat authorities need to really think about this space very well is to say that as the donor or the payer, shall I say, is increasingly able to mobilize their own funds and to have greater impact, then unless we as agencies are really able to provide a transformative impact, then I think in the next 5-10 years, there could be a major challenge to the very existence. And I think what was mentioned by Imam Shamsi Ali at the beginning, and that, you know, agencies need to have teeth. I think the reality is that without those teeth, this will become a genuine reality. So unless agencies get teeth and they get an ability to, you know, mobilize funds with some kind of state mandate, then let's say in 5-10 years time, unless there's a major change in their impact and the trust that people have, they won't be needed by many people, because they'll say, well, I can just access funds myself and go do it hand to hand, which would not be a good thing for the Zakat agenda and being able to look at strategy at a macro level.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Azim, Imam Shamsi Ali, Mr. Zubair Qasim, and Dr. Hafizah Zainal for presenting your ideas, thoughts, and perspectives in your country about youth and Amil professionals in general. I think before we end this discussion, I would like to have like a short message from you for youth Amil professionals globally. We can start from Imam Shamsi.
All right, thank you so much again for this opportunity. Such an honor to talk back to Indonesia from my village in New York City. I think just one point, that we are truly living in a very different world, and I think we have to anticipate every change that happens in our life. And one of the most important is that we are very much into informations, and particularly the exposure of social media. I think we must all anticipate the changes that takes time from time to time. You can imagine, Facebook's just a few years back, it's already dominated the world. And what we don't know will be happening in 5 years to come. Now we have this Google Hangout, we have a Zoom. You can imagine if we don't have all this during this pandemic, COVID-19, what will be happening. So I think we must be anticipating all changes will be happening, and we must be ready for it. Otherwise, we are going to be left, we are going to be marginalized, we are going to be victimized even by the changes. So be aware of the changes will be taking place. We don't know what will be happening this coming days, inshallah, particularly after the pandemic, COVID-19. I used to remind my congregations that during these days, as you read the ayat around Juz 22, 23, most of the ayats talking at the end is like qarnan akharin. And the plural of qarnan is qurun. And it's very much close to the word corona. And it means generation, new generation. So we hope that after this corona, there will be a new generation. Not necessarily physical, but at least the mindset, the mentality. And so we need to renew ourselves. We need to really transform our life into a new one, hopefully, after Ramadan particularly. Jazakallah khair again for the opportunity.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Imam Shamsi Ali. And Mr. Zubair Qasim?
I think my advice, if I understood correctly, my advice to the young Amils would be maybe twofold. One is that they need to feel zakat. So they themselves need to practice it and get on the ground. We have a policy within our office, regardless of the position that they may be in, even if it's administrative, marketing, whatever it might be, they have to get involved at least once a quarter on assisting a case on the ground so that they can actually feel the impact of the zakat work that's going on in the organization. That's one aspect of it. So to feel it and to see it, and that stays with you and it really motivates you. The second important thing I would mention, and it's in line with what the Imam from New York, Sheikh Shamsi, just mentioned, is that coronavirus has actually put life and its hustle and bustle into perspective in regards to what is important and what is not. I think a lot of people are right now reflecting and thinking, and this is a great time to also ourselves reflect and think as people working in this field, that what is really truly important and how hard should I work to make a difference before my time is up, basically, right? Like, when is my time going to end? And there's no guarantees for that. The world has changed upside down. Well, for us, past 3 months, or maybe a little bit less than that. And subhanAllah, like, we couldn't have imagined like what's happening right now. So what I would say is, like, while we're on this earth, let's use this opportunity that Allah has blessed us with to do the best we can before our time comes. So that would be my advice. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zubair Qasim. And the next, Mr. Azim Kidwai.
Yeah, I mean, just following on from Zubair, all I would say is there's a wonderful hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and in which he said, take advantage of 5 before 5, your youth before your old age, your health before your illness, your richness before your poverty, your free time before your work, and your life before your death. And ultimately, as younger people, it's interesting that the hadith started with youth before old age. So this is the first thing that we should always be looking at, that as our age slips away from us, what we can do now, we won't be able to do tomorrow. So how much support we can give to someone that's in need today, we won't be able to do tomorrow. So this is something for us to take in these blessed few days at a very practical level, that how are we using our time, and how we're using our energy, and how we're using our wealth, and how we're using our capacity. Let's all have a good think about that, because it is all literally slipping away by the minute.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Azim. So I think this is the end of the discussion day 2 on the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium. I would like to thank all of our speakers, Dr. Hafizah Zainal, Imam Shamsi Ali, Mr. Zubair Qasim, and Mr. Azim Kidwai. So I hope that this session brings amazing ideas for all youth Amil professionals around the world towards a renowned global Zakat movement. Now I'm Hafiza as the moderator. Return the session to our Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Please, Sister Arwa.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Sister Hafiza, and thank you for all the speakers for that enlightening discussion. It is always interesting to learn and hear the experiences of our brothers and sisters from other nations. Inshallah, this discussion has also given you a perspective and inspiration to everyone at home who is watching. Now, we will proceed with the next agenda, which is a commentary speech on the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium from the invited Deputy Secretary Generals. This session will be moderated by Dr. Irfan Syauqi Beik with speakers from Saudi Arabia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Nigeria, and Bangladesh. To Dr. Irfan, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Sister Arwa. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. The Honorable Secretary General of the World Zakat Forum, Professor Dr. Bambang Sudibyo, the Honorable Deputy Secretary General of the World Zakat Forum, distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. In this session, there will be some commentary speeches from the Deputy Secretary General in order to respond the aspiration of the youth Amil and how to accommodate these dynamics and aspiration of the youth Amil in the precise platform of the World Zakat Forum. And therefore, we need the view of the Deputy Secretary General of the World Zakat Forum as respond to this promising dynamics among the World Zakat Forum member countries and also member institutions. And without further ado, I would like to call Mr. Lawal Maidoki, Muhammad Lawal Maidoki, as the Deputy Secretary General representing Western Africa, Western and Southern part of African continent. Brother Lawal, are you there? Brother Lawal, can you hear me? Brother Lawal, is it possible to respond? Yeah, his account is here, but you're not here, brother. Okay, then I will come to the next Deputy Secretary General, Dr. Muhammad Ayub Mia. Dr. Ayub, are you there? Because at 3:30, I saw this account joining this platform. Dr. Ayub Mia, can you listen to us here? Okay. Oh, okay. We're waiting for you, brother, to respond and to share your views on this first World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium 2020. You can have your views. The time is yours. Please, Brother Lawal.
Alhamdulillah. Now, Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam, ala mala nabiyya ba'da. Amma ba'da, my boss, the Secretary General World Zakat Forum, Professor Bambang Sudibyo, my colleagues, the Deputy Secretary General across the globe, and the Executive Secretary and also the moderator of this particular segment. Our distinguished brothers and sisters across the globe, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Indeed, I join colleagues to appreciate what has been done yesterday and today with respect to the millennial participating as Amil of Zakat all over the world. I've shared the same opinion, and I think all the speakers are in agreement on the need to think, recognize the contribution that is likely going to be made by these millennials in advancing the global Zakat movement. Truly, we have all agreed that presently the workers in all Zakat bodies and institutions in the world are more than 70 to 80% within the millennials. Now, having understood that, and from the history in which some of the speakers have been able to briefly share with us, that even the prophets that were sent to change mankind for better in worshiping of Allah, most of them or all of them are youth, whom you can classify within the age of millennials when their mission starts. Therefore, the issue of millennial being raised by World Zakat Forum is timely, and definitely we have to think deeply on how we can catch up with this changing trend. Imam Shamsi Ali had made a point, very, very important, that time is changing and it's changing quickly. Now, any other thing that will delay our comprehension of the reality on ground may not help us to advance forward in our entire life, talk less of only Zakat and Wakaf movement all over the world. Therefore, I want to suggest that one, it is imperative definitely to have the youth or the millennial forum and organization with respect to Zakat movement across the world. I therefore feel that one of the areas is to strengthen the knowledge in whatever form, either through the online and through the physical contact, including mobilizations of imams and whoever is concerned, with rigorous mobilization of the youth, and especially in educating them. Here, for example, what we did at our end and what we are doing now is, first of all, we have considered stakeholders in Nigeria. We have formed the association of all Zakat practitioners and operators in Nigeria. And one of the things that we did at SOZECOM level, that is the Sokoto State Zakat and Endowment Commission, is to link up with all the colleagues and come up with a proposal of having a curriculum for the education of Zakat at the primary, at secondary, and at tertiary level. In the world today, only a few countries you have where you can take a BSc or an MSc or a PhD cut. Yes, there were so many tests, there were so many papers written, but professionally, only a few countries probably are able to come up with such a arrangement, which is very vital today. And secondly, we try to see how we create debate, quiz, essay writing, competition among youth, and with very good prizes of scholarship and other benefits, so that they can develop interest in the issue of Zakat. Most of the youth are not Zakat payers, except in very few cases, but majority of them are living hand to mouth. But they are also the greatest engine that you can use to bring about positive change or negative change in any society. Therefore, I suggest the forum look inwards with the Basnas in Indonesia and some of the stronger bodies also in Malaysia, and the strong institution of Zakat we have in Sudan, to see how we can come up as we have done on Zakat core principles. A lot of work has been done, and it was facilitated by both Basnas and the Bank of Indonesia. That is very rich, and it has successfully discussed on so many aspects. So same thing can be done to see how the millennials can be brought in and also can be sensitized to do more, because eventually they are the ones taking over from us very soon. And they are already taking over in some areas. Therefore, I advise that the Islamic Development Bank may also be invited to join in this drive, and that will be very helpful for us. Then the third one is the World Zakat Forum. Despite the issue of funding, which we may discuss later, how to really get the fund, there is a need for a deliberate, contact, which may be in a form of also political approach, maybe through the embassies in Indonesia, where the office of the World Zakat Forum is, or other means where the countries, especially the Muslim majority countries and even the Muslim minority countries, where we can easily have the understanding and the backing. Because Imam Sheikh Ali talked about the importance of the authority. And that authority, you can only get it through the political will of those in the governance. And you can only get their political will of the governance through the appropriate contact, through the appropriate advocacy, through the appropriate mobilization. If we can achieve that, then inshallah, gradually we will get to where we're heading to. But I really want to say we have and understood this issue brought in by the Secretariat of World Zakat Forum is in line, and we have to give it all the necessary support for us to see the youth coming together to champion the cause of Zakat almost in all simplification. And don't forget, reminding that it has to be quick and it is challenging. I still want to repeat this. It has to be quick, it has to be challenging, and it has to be dynamic. Yeah, it has to be dynamic because the world is dynamic, and so many of the speakers, I don't want to repeat, they said the issue of COVID-19 has brought a lot of changes, and those are realities that we really need to sit down and study very well, and inshallah, Allah will be our guide. Because once you rely on Allah, this is my humble contribution in this forum. And Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam alaikum, Brother Lawal, for your comment. I think it's
Thank you very much.
yeah. And do you agree that we need to accommodate these youth Amil professionals in our WZF member countries in a, you can say, subsidiary institution under WZF? Brother Lawal, do you agree on that one? Yeah, you are muted. Please unmute. Yes. Just a simple question. Do you agree with this, Brother Lawal? Yes.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's.
I agree.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. We are clearly hearing you. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comment. And then next, I have seen that Dr. Elnur Salihovic also has joined us, and I would like to call Dr. Elnur Salihovic, the Deputy Secretary General of the World Zakat Movement, representing European continent. Okay. Yeah. He was the former chairman of the Bosnia Zakat Office. Dr. Elnur? You have the floor.
Yeah. Do you can hear me? Yeah.
Yes, of course. We want to hear your comment on the future direction of this Youth Amil, especially in our World Zakat Forum. Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Let me first express my pleasure and honor to be part of this, let's say, we can say, historical moment and symposium. And I support greatly this initiative to involve more young people and to support them, to help them to as we know that meaning of zakat, word of zakat is purification, growth, improvement. One of meanings of zakat, and yes, of course, we know that zakat is the pillar, one of the pillars of our faith of Islam and our religion, Islam, and we should to support to purify themselves. To grow through their life and their careers with work on zakat, and I believe that working on zakat have a strong connection with zakat. Young people, young professionals, young thinkers, young academicians can improve their careers, their lives, and can be part of big global platform, a global movement for the betterment of the world, and for the betterment to bring more happiness to the life of people. And it is not only we are usually we are talking about the poor, needy people in need, but we also should to talk about the young people, young students, young academicians who need support, young outstanding students, and we should, I believe, we should put more focus and more support to the education of people, of young people in the Muslim world, and not only children, but students and other people who are working master degrees, PhDs, and post-PhD, to support them for the betterment of Muslim societies, because with good education, we will provide them also opportunity to find good jobs and to be driving force for the development of their societies and to contribute to the development and betterment of the global society. And that's why I would say that it is very important for this initiative to make convergence of the energy, very strong energy, very innovative thinking, new ideas of young people, convergence and combination with the wisdom, with the experience, great experience, or the leadership, and let's say older or senior leaders and members of Global Zakat Forum. As we know, Secretary General and most of our brothers who are leaders and members of Global Zakat Forum, they have great experience, and they can provide appropriate information, appropriate learning for younger generations to support them in their growth, in their improvement, and I hope, inshallah, we will find the best ways to have that convergence and to have necessary combination of energy, innovation, experience, and wisdom, and to improve our work on zakat in our societies, local, national societies, and also to improve our work and impact of zakat globally.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Elnur. And the same question I will ask you. Yeah. So, do you agree on the idea to coordinate and to accommodate of this potential youth Amil in our, let's say, newly established? Of course, it should be discussed in the upcoming World Zakat Forum annual meeting. Yeah, to have WZF Youth as our subsidiary institution.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So. Okay.
Just one.
Yes.
One joke. I will say one. Yes. Maybe brother Lamal. He should. Yes.
You should have more than one yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Elnur. Now.
You're welcome.
Thank you, and I would like to call the next
Dr. Muhammad Ayub, Irfan.
Yes, Dr. Muhammad Ayub. Are you there, Dr.
Assalamualaikum. Do you hear me?
Maybe you should turn off one of the nearest electronic equipment there. Maybe you have a laptop or another mobile phone that may access other platforms. You can unmute now. Dr. Ayub, you can unmute now. Dr. Muhammad Ayub is the Deputy Secretary General representing South Asia. Oh, he has left the meeting. Actually, we have other Deputy Secretary Generals, but unfortunately, until this afternoon, prior to this event, they have not confirmed their attendance due to domestic programs, and they can face salam. Shukri has said salam to all of us. He is the Deputy Secretary General from Malaysia, representing the Southeast Asia. Yeah, okay. Now Dr. Ayub has come back. So please, you may turn on the mic or to unmute the mic. Dr. Ayub? Dr. Ayub? Maybe Brother Monir can help him. Okay. So we are waiting for Dr. Ayub to give comment on our Youth Symposium 2020. Okay. Has he returned? Okay. While we are waiting for him, I think with the permission of the Secretary General, I would like to call the Vice Chairman of Basnas, Professor Bambang. Is it possible?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So I would like to call Dr. Zainal Bahar Nur the Vice Chairman of the National Board of Zakat of the Republic of Indonesia, to share his view, on this. Oh no, you're coming back. Okay, so
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. Should I speak?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil kareem. Honorable Secretary General, Deputy Secretary Generals, Dr. Irfan, Executive Director, Speaker and participants, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to speak here in this great event. In fact, I would like to say something addressing the young professionals of Zakat. Firstly, I would like to congratulate and salute the fellow young men and women who have joined World Zakat Forum Youth Initiative and participating in this two-day symposium. In fact, all the credit goes to Secretary General and his team, and a special thanks to Dr. Irfan, Executive Director, for his relentless effort to the event happen. My fellow young brothers and sisters, may Allah accept you as the young professionals of Zakat movement worldwide as Amilin Alaiha. As you know, an Amil or a Zakat worker needs to have some basic qualities. As Zakat is a mandatory ibadah, you have to understand the essence and spirit of Islam very comprehensively. So it is implied that you need to know the, among others, details of Zakat, particularly its rules and regulations and its management aspects. Now I'd like to say something addressing to the Zakat management organizations worldwide. In fact, the ZMOs in different countries have been striving for institutionalizing Zakat in their respective societies. There are various types of mindset and limitations of the Zakat fairs. In some countries, state legislation are in place and payment of Zakat is mandatory. However, in most of the countries, payment of Zakat to the state treasury is not mandatory. Even ZMOs are working as private sector entities in some countries like Bangladesh. They have to motivate the Zakat payers for payment of their Zakat to an organized platform. In many cases, the Zakat payers are not aware of their religious obligation, even they don't know the proper rules and regulations of Zakat and its proper calculation method. The young Amils need to be aware of the problems and have to evolve strategies and programs for addressing these issues through social media and other means. Internet has widened the area of searching the knowledge, so please capture it and disseminate the knowledge of Zakat among the Zakat payers in particular and the Muslim Ummah in general. The youth of the world, particularly the Muslim youth, have been experiencing wars and conflicts in the Muslim world, along with economic inequalities. The market economy, as practiced by the Muslim states, has miserably failed to reduce the inequalities gap. Without the full practice of Islamic financial system, inequality will continue to be widened further in future. So the youth needs to understand the root causes of the inequality and to explore the ways to how to reduce it. Indeed, Zakat is one of the instruments in this regard. Next, I would like to say something on the role of Zakat in poverty alleviation. We know that poverty alleviation is a buzzword among the policymakers and the development practitioners. The poor Muslim countries have become the laboratories for testing and piloting different models and approaches for poverty alleviation.
we need to take this challenge, though has already been laid, that Islamic financial mechanism is fully capable to substantially reduce the poverty curve and thus can make a big difference in the lives of the needy, millions of needy people around the world, particularly in the Muslim countries. You have to be the active ambassador of Zakat as a dynamic vehicle of eradicating poverty from the Muslim community. In this context, we need to put an attention to the global development strategies as well. SDGs have been adopted by the world community for sustainable development. It has been evident that most SDGs are highly consistent with the Maqasid al-Sharia and can be supported or addressed with the Zakat Fund. Realizing the fact, UNDP has taken initiatives to collaborate with WZF. UNDP Indonesia has successfully executed a poverty alleviation project with the Basnas. Recently, UNDP Bangladesh and CZM has signed an MOU for partnership. We hope all the ZMOs of other countries will take similar initiatives for achieving SDGs by utilizing Zakat Fund. Next, I would like to say one of the challenges of most ZMOs is to demonstrate their efficiency in terms of Zakat management. Although Zakat is an age-old financial system practiced by Muslim Ummah, but due to many reasons, we have almost lost its aristocracy and sophistication in our planning and development process. For many decades, Zakat system has remained as a dormant treasure. We need to rediscover it, and the young needs to take the leading role in this context. Institutionalized Zakat with management efficiency would be the focal point for this purpose. Alhamdulillah, World Zakat Forum has developed and adopted some important documents with international standard for all the ZMOs. The youth must go through all these documents and practice it properly in their respective societies. Natural disasters and man-made disaster both are prevailing in the earth from the dawn of the civilization. But it has been more frequent in the contemporary world. Thousands of helpless men, women, children are crying in different corners of the world. Most of them are Muslims. It's a really very sad story for us. The Amil needs to play a big role in emergency response to this crisis. The distressed, vulnerable, and needy people have to be supported with Zakat and Sadaqah Fund. The operation of emergency response in most cases is highly challenging and laborious. Only the youth seems to be the effective workforce in this regard. Sincerity, dedication, and commitment for achieving the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would only be driving force in this endeavor. Finally, I would like to draw the attention of the youth that you are the most effective workforce in the words of the fourth industrial revolution. The time needs to be more innovation, more knowledge, more information, more networking, and more analyzing competencies. The breakout of COVID-19 teaches us that the human civilization has reached to the peak with a lot of limitations. It is a hard truth in terms of health sciences as well as economic emancipation and spiritual and ethical development. You all need to realize the objectives of your life and establishing and utilizing your energy. Please try to best utilize this opportunity being the member of World Zakat Forum Youth Initiative through networking and sharing ideas and thoughts among yourselves. Please try to build yourself as a strong vanguard of the Ummah, a soldier of Zakat Amil and Zakat Movement for the cause of achieving the satisfaction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah bless and forgive all of us in the last days of the Holy Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Ayub, for your commentary speech. And now, without further ado, I would like to call another Deputy Secretary General, Dr. Saleh Ali Alwaji from Saudi Arabia. He is the Deputy Secretary General representing the Middle Eastern region. Dr. Saleh, can you hear me? Yeah. You may have the floor, and please unmute the mic first.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اللهم يا معلم إبراهيم وداود علمنا، ويا مفهم سليمان فهمنا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Mr. Chairman, deputies, brothers and sisters, as they say, desserts comes at last. So I'll first make it a very sweet dessert and a very short speech. I'll add nothing more than what my brothers and sisters have commented on this great initiative. I wish that this offshoot of the World Zakat Forum gets the full success.
Dr. Saleh, sorry to interrupt you. Can you turn on your video so everybody can see you? Can you turn on the video? Ah, okay. Okay, your camera is on, now we can see you. Please.
Okay. So now we have the proof that I am the one who is speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Please continue.
So I was just commenting on this great initiative, and I will look at it from a different angle, maybe a very basic principle, a very basic fundamental that working in zakat has to have the ihtisab. Each and everyone works as a zakat amil, especially our brothers and sisters from the younger generation who are just entering or just having a few years in this field, that it is a great job that you are doing. It's a great worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it requires certain prerequisites. Such prerequisites are honesty, knowledge, and skills. So we have to have honesty, and inshallah, every Muslim man or woman is honest by default. The second thing is that you work as an amil while you feel and believe that you are worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you are looking for the good deeds of working as amil of zakah. The knowledge is to know what are the amwal or the type of assets that are zakatable or are subject to zakat, and this comes from the third pillar, which is the skills and attitudes which you get trained on by your older colleagues in the respective institutions that you work for. I know that it is impossible to have one size fits all, because we have different forms and shapes of zakat institutions, whether in Muslim communities or in Muslim countries. Some of them are 100% government, others, like in my country, it's 100% government. And in other countries, they are semi-government. Some of other countries, they are just like some philanthropic agencies. But anyway, regardless of the shape or form or the way you collect zakat and distribute it in your respective country or community, these pillars are supposed to be all the time preserved. Honesty, knowledge, and the skills that you need to carry. I personally would like that we give the floor we give the floor to develop such platform to the youth themselves. I assume that they know much better than we do once it comes to the contemporary technology and the usage of it. Today, you don't have to go and visit villages and visit small towns to collect zakat and determine who are the recipients of zakat. Today, you can use many channels of the new technology to reach out for the needy people, to reach out also for the donors or for the muzakki. And I assume that such platform is supposed to be doing that for us. We're not going to be wandering around the place trying to collect zakat and see the cattle and see the sheep herds that as they used to do in the past. Now many people, or the majority of Muslims, believe today in the necessity of zakat to help their brothers and sisters, and they can use the technology to reach to the collectors of zakat, and to also transfer the sums or the money that they believe is their zakat for their assets. And at the same time, we can also get the information on the needy families to combat the poverty in our Muslim communities. I know that we are running maybe late. Therefore, I'm trying to make it as short and as brief as possible, wishing this project or this initiative all success, and I agree on it as a deputy, and I assume inshallah that we will have our next meeting sometime before the end of this year, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate this pandemic and its impact on the world. And then we can adopt such initiative officially. Thank you very much, and Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Saleh Alwaji, for your commentary speech. And I think from the Deputy Secretary Generals, all of them agree that this initiative should be supported and the role of the youth should be strengthened in our beloved World Zakat Forum. I think that's all for this session, and I would like to return the stage to Sister Arwa. Sister Arwa?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Irfan. So now we will be moving on to the next agenda, which is the declaration, which is going to be which will be led by Brother Randy Swandaru from Indonesia, and he will be giving the resolution of the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium in 2020. To Brother Randy Swandaru, the time is yours. Brother Randy?
Thank you for this opportunity. I will read these declarations. The resolutions of the first World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium 2020. The World Zakat Forum Secretariat has pioneered the first World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium 2020 that is conducted from 16 to 17 May 2020, which also occurs on 23rd and 24th Ramadan 1441 Hijriah. as an attempt to synergize youth Amil from all over the world as part of global zakat consolidation. Despite the coronavirus outbreak, the symposium has marked its history conducted online with about 70 young delegates from 16 World Zakat Forum member countries attending the event. The symposium has translated the potential of youth who are Amil Zakat professionals worldwide into the real movement of global zakat, at best during the event. Furthermore, recognition on the potential of youth leadership in the World Zakat Forum member countries demands further action to position the role of youth in the World Zakat Forum future agendas. Therefore, the delegates and participants of the first World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium 2020 have agreed on the following resolutions. First, urging the formation of World Zakat Forum Youth Organization as a legal platform for young Amil professionals to share their ideas and experiences. This is to be initiated formally in the upcoming World Zakat Forum annual meeting and international conference. Second, proposing the establishment of World Zakat Forum Youth as subsidiary institutions of the World Zakat Forum, aiming at strengthening the role and the network of young Amil professionals as an endeavor to optimize the global zakat potential. Third, recommending a leadership position as Deputy Secretary General at World Zakat Forum representing youth Amil in order to accommodate growing dynamics of worldwide zakat management. Fourth, calling all World Zakat Forum member countries and member institutions to strengthen the role of zakat during this COVID-19 pandemic era. May Allah shower His mercy on the endeavor to strengthen the role of the youth Amil in global zakat movement. Google Meet platform, May 17, 2020. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Brother Andy, for reading the resolution of the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium. We hope that through this platform, young Amil professionals around the globe will be able to actively participate and contribute to the zakat movement from this generation and into the next. Dear brothers and sisters, we have finally reached the end of day 2. This also concludes the end of the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium 2020. To officially close the symposium, we will hear the closing statement from the Secretary General of the World Zakat Forum, Professor Dr. Bambang Sudibyo. To Professor Dr. Bambang Sudibyo, you may have the floor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, wa syukrulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. All honorable deputies of Secretary General of the World Zakat Forum, Honorable Dr. L. Nur Salihovic, Honorable Dr. Muhammad Miyah Ayub, Honorable Brother Muhammad Lawal Maidoki, Honorable Dr. Saleh Ali Alwaji, Honorable Dr. Irfan Syauqi Beik, Executive Secretary of the World Zakat Forum, distinguished speaker, distinguished participant, ladies and gentlemen. May salawat and salam are always granted by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to Rasulullah Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his families, and all his followers until the end of the world. Alhamdulillah, the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium 2020 is approaching its final closure. Distinguished speakers and all participants have discussed relevant issues pertaining to zakat movement by young zakat professional amils, young academicians and researchers, and other young stakeholders. At the end, the symposium agreed on a declaration concerning the formation of the World Zakat Forum Youth. I would like to ask Dr. Irfan Beik, the Executive Secretary of the World Zakat Forum, to arrange formal adoption of the World Zakat Forum Youth in this year World Zakat Forum annual meeting. Hopefully, the adoption will be agreed upon in the annual meeting. At the end, by citing Alhamdulillahirabbil Alamin, I would like to declare this World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium 2020 officially closed. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Bambang Sudibyo. Dear brothers and sisters, I hope you all enjoyed the discussion throughout this symposium. It was an honor to meet you all and to hear from such bright and inspiring young Amil professionals from around. We hope that this event does not only exist as an event, but also as a concrete platform and medium for us to further strengthen our bonds with our international brothers and sisters and continue to contribute to the Zakat movement and create social welfare for all. We pray you all stay healthy both physically, spiritually, and mentally during the pandemic and pray the pandemic ends soon. May you all have a blessed Ramadan, and thank you for participating in the World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium 2020. I, Arufila Ditya Rarasakta, as Master of Ceremony, deeply apologize for any mistakes in presenting this ceremony. Thank you very much for your attention and see you in the next World Zakat Forum Youth Symposium. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.